We feel we're in a good space. We're in two of the jurisdictions with the highest grade and largest reserves of lithium in the world. Chile, of course, has over 50% of the known reserves, and Argentina is a close third, just behind Australia.
Steve Cochrane joins me now. He's the CEO of Lithium Chile Inc. Trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol LITH, and in the United States under the symbol LTMCF. Steve, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, Steve. Well, it's a lithium world. More and more every day. Price of lithium at over $70,000 per ton. How is Lithium Chile positioned to take advantage of that price increase?
Well, it's the perfect storm, as you realize right now, for lithium and indeed all battery metals. And that's being driven by climate change, for one, and the government need to address that. The Canadian government just announced a 40% reduction in carbon emissions by 2030. And the key backbone of that plan is converting more and more internal combustion engines into electric vehicles. Great for the battery industry, great for lithium, right? As you all know, lithium right now is the only basic host of electrons. We have a lot of technology changing in anode cathode technology, but as far as hosting the actual electrons, there's nothing lighter, more energy dense right now than lithium. So we feel we're in a good space. We're in two of the jurisdictions with the highest grade and largest reserves of lithium in the world. Chile, of course, has over 50% of the known reserves, and Argentina is a close third, just behind Australia. Combined, they're about 70% of the known reserves of lithium in the world. And we have exploration properties in Chile, which we continue to advance. But the big step forward for us was the announcement in January of our initial resource on our Argentinian play. That really was a game changer for us, moved us from a pure exploration play into the resource category, and that's huge.
Wow, that is. So in Chile, your grade is 1,410 milligrams per liter. That's as good as it gets, pretty much, isn't it?
That's the highest grade. Now, that was an auger sample from about 1.5 meters, 2 meters below surface, but that grade rivals the commercial production grade at Atacama that Albemarle and SQM are currently producing at. So not are we only encouraged by having that kind of a high-grade sample, but we've shot geophysics. That's our Salar de Coipasa property. It's the north part of Chile. It sits on the Coipasa Salar, which straddles Bolivia and Chile, and it's the second largest salar in the world. We control about 68% of the Chilean side, and we've shot geophysics, we've done TEM, we've done gravity, and besides that grade that you just indicated, we see a beautiful conductive basin. So we feel very strongly that there's a large subterranean aquifer there. We know there's lithium on the property. We're anxious to get on that and be able to drill it to prove that those kind of grades exist below surface as well.
Sure. Now, is your plan then to use the solar evaporation process to produce lithium?
You know, interesting enough, Chile now, you can't use solar evaporation anymore. You have to use a direct lithium extraction technology. We're partnered up with Summit Nanotech. We feel personally they're the front runner in this DLE technology, but we also have been talking to a dozen other companies that feel they have the solution to allow us to produce lithium right at the wellhead. That's being embraced not only by the Chilean government, obviously, but the indigenous communities in the area see this as less environmentally impactful than the current evaporation technology. So DLE is the future. There's lots of pilot testing going on. We'd be happy to use our, if and when we make a lithium discovery in Coipasa particularly, we would look at a pilot DLE project there. Interesting enough, Argentina, evaporation ponds are still allowed, and yet we think DLE even there is going to be the future.
Sure. What was the name of the company you're partnered with, you're sampling with?
It's called Summit Nanotechnology. Canadian-based firm. Amanda Hall won Female Entrepreneur of the Year last year. They've got a great, they feel a great solution, carbon neutral, uses very little water, can be driven, solar power. It could be the future for sure.
Right. And so where are you at in the sort of process of analyzing whether this process is going to work for you? Have you tested it in the lab at this point?
They have tested the brines in the lab and found out they could get 95% recoveries. They're man-made brines. Their actual pilot unit is on its way to Chile now, expected to arrive sometime here sort of early summer. And at that point, we plan to ship them brines from our Argentinian well that we know has a good grade of lithium in it. And that would be really the acid test for us and for them, whether they can actually, get that 95% recovery of lithium. So that is certainly in the works. We hope to have that answer, midsummer, early fall.
Wow. And then so if the Chilean government sort of, right now there's only two companies producing in Chile, correct? Albemarle and SQM?
Correct.
And so are they going to issue permits if you can avoid the solar evaporation methodology?
The regulatory framework in Chile is much more challenging than Argentina. Obviously, that's why in the last couple of years, there's been billions and billions and billions invested in Argentina into lithium and really nothing into Chile. And I think the Chileans, notwithstanding, there's been a change of government. They see they're losing this direct foreign investment. And in spite of the rhetoric that we've seen recently, I think, and the statements recently this week alone from the Minister of Mining for Chile points to a government that recognizes the importance of lithium to the economy and to the people of Chile. I think, and rumor has it, those two contracts that were awarded by the previous government will be finalized and acknowledged soon by the new government. We've also understand that those three contracts that weren't awarded will be reintroduced to bidders. So we get the sense, and I know our people on the ground in Chile get the sense, that in spite of the rhetoric, the government recognizes the need to encourage more investment, particularly into lithium. So I'm confident going forward we'll see status quo in Chile. In fact, we may even see an improvement, making the regulatory environment easier, right?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of the battery manufacturers have been making noises about investing in lithium production to secure future supply at a more predetermined price, especially in this rising price environment. Do you see the price of lithium acting as a sort of demand suppressant at this point? Are people going to maybe back off on buying electric cars if that price translates into higher prices for electric vehicles?
The percentage cost in an electric vehicle that is attributable to batteries is very small. And yes, the price has gone up, but on the overall cost of the vehicle, I think it was less than 2 or 3%, and that is actually attributable to the batteries. So I don't think that's going to be a determining factor. In fact, we can turn that question around. There's probably been a far greater move and a far greater impact in gasoline prices in the last month on operating an internal combustion engine that may actually drive people to electric vehicles. So I don't see that as a big problem. And ironically, battery prices have come down 80 or 90% over the last 10 years from what they were, initially. They feel that the cost of overall electric vehicles is going to come down. And you have other factors too. I mean, copper and some of the other commodities in the battery metal space are also contributing. But again, offsetting that is we have this reluctance to buy Russian oil. We have gasoline prices at all-time high. So I think the environment for electric vehicles is going to continue to do good. The high price of lithium is going to do one thing, though. It's going to attract a lot of investment into other projects. Right now, there's a supply-demand imbalance, hence the current 500,000 plus RMB on a metric ton of lithium versus 40,000 a year and a half ago. it's that rise in lithium prices that's attracting a lot of investment dollars, which will increase the supply side. And that should provide sort of a cap near term, I would think, in lithium prices. But again, one of the things people don't realize is from start to finish, it takes a while to bring a new lithium production on stream. So we don't see an overwhelming increase in supply in the near term, but certainly it'll attract some investment, these prices, and that should cap the runaway price increases we've seen, right?
Sure. In a best case scenario, when would you commence production of lithium?
If we could do it tomorrow, right? We have, and to go back to your previous question, you're right. I mean, in no other time in history has the OEM manufacturers gone so far down the supply chain. You know, the GM never owned a iron ore mine, let alone a steel mill, right? So the electric vehicle manufacturers are so concerned about supply that they've not only bought, you know, the processing side. In some cases, they've actually, like Tesla, invested in lithium production. We have a partner now, Chongqing Lithium. They're a strategic investor in us. They took 5% of our company in January. They're the second largest lithium processor in China. And just 2 weeks ago, BYD announced that they were buying 5% of Chongqing for 500 million Canadian with the option to go to 30%. So now you have BYD, the largest electric vehicle manufacturer in China, owning 5% of Chongqing, which owns 5% of us. So already indirectly, BYD has invested in a potential producing lithium asset down the road. We have the potential, I think, to turn on production on our Argentinian property within 12 months. We need environmental, obviously, impact studies. Those have been submitted. We are advancing the drill program to prove up that initial resource could potentially be exponentially bigger. And Chongqing, our partner, they're an expert as well in direct lithium extraction. They've offered to set up a pilot plant on that project to prove that we can produce lithium carbonate. So we're in the works of trying to get that arranged now, and hopefully there'll be further news on that in the foreseeable future.
You bet. Steve, that's a great update on the company. I really appreciate your time today. We'll have you back soon. Thanks for joining me.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye for now.